The history of mainstream comic books is often divided into a number of periods or ages. There are few concrete dates for each age, but rather a set of events leading to a new state of being in the industry, characterized by shifts in thematic focus or other new trends. The Golden Age, many will agree, started with the publication of Action Comics #1, the first comic book appearance of Superman, in 1938, and ended with the end of World War II in 1945, when the popularity of superhero comic books declined rapidly. The Silver Age is considered to have begun with DC's publication of Showcase #4 in 1956, which featured the newly revamped Flash. After that, things get a bit muddled. More on that in a moment. For those keeping score of pre-Superman comics, and there are plenty, the Platinum Age is generally considered everything in comics from the late 19th century to the 1930s. Some would define an even earlier Victorian Age, which encompasses various strips, periodicals, and illustrated books that are not technically comic books. Now, depending on whom you ask, the Silver Age could have ended at one of a multitude of points during the late 60s and 70s. Sales of superhero comics in general hit a slump in 1967, and circa 1970, there were a few major creative shakeups amongst comic publishers. The venerable Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko left Marvel for DC, and a number of DC artists and writers left for Charlton. Either date, 1967 or 1970, is as good as any other for determining when the Silver Age ends. One offers a financially based milestone, the other a creative one. Take your pick. After the Silver Age ends, regardless of when that actually is, things get even more sketchy. A new age is generally acknowledged, and some like to call it the Bronze Age, but its starting point is vague at best. Some cite the 1970 publication of Conan #1 as the beginning of a Bronze Age, since it heralded the renewed trend of branching out from superheroes. Others say Giant Size X-Men #1, which debuted a new and hugely popular X-Men team, should mark the beginning of the so-called Bronze Age. The term Bronze Age isn't even as universally accepted as Golden or Silver Ages. Some prefer to call it the Iron Age or the Modern Age, and there are those who subdivide comics history since the end of the Silver Age into numerous periods. The sad fact of the matter is that since the Silver Age, comic books have increasingly become a niche market, while at the same time experiencing such rapid creative changes, both good and bad, that pinning down just a few pivotal events to bookend any new ages becomes very difficult. There have certainly been numerous trends, but few were quite significant enough to warrant an age. That said, let's jump back to the early stages of the Silver Age. The dawn of the Marvel era around this time was a very important milestone in the development of the comic book form. Marvel Comics was originally called Atlas, and for a very brief period changed its name to Timely. It would grow to become one of the big two, the most recognizable and commanding comic book publishers in the industry. The second was DC Comics, home to Superman, Batman, and numerous other popular characters.